Have you ever stopped to think about what truly holds value? When time starts moving faster than the days? When we look back and realize that the most important things in life were never for sale? This video isn't just another reflection. It's an invitation to rediscover what is eternal, what remains even when everything else fades away. Today, we're going to talk about what money can never buy. And if you're in the best phase of life, where possessions matter less, and the soul speaks louder, then this message is for you. Get ready, because by the end of these few minutes, you'll see your own story with kinder eyes and the world with a lighter heart. Time, the most precious resource. You can gather riches, buy houses, cars, gifts. You can fill your pockets with bills and your bank account with zeros. And yet, there's nothing in this world that can buy you one more second of life. Time is the only thing that slips through your fingers, even when you think you're in control. It doesn't pile up, it can't be recovered, it can't be traded. It just passes, silent, irreversible. And that's exactly why it's our most precious resource. I remember my grandmother. She didn't move as easily anymore. Her hands trembled. Her steps were short, and her eyesight wasn't what it used to be. But every time the family gathered, there she was sitting in the corner of the couch, with a serene smile on her face, watching. She hardly spoke, she just observed, as if she wanted to quietly store away every laugh, every word, every gesture. As if the time she had left had turned into a little treasure chest, and all that mattered now was filling that chest with memories. Back then, I'll admit, I didn't understand. I thought she was just too quiet, maybe tired. Today, looking back, I see it clearly. She knew the value of the moment. She knew that time with loved ones is rare, it's finite, and it's sacred. How many times do we put things off? How many times do we trade a family coffee for an urgent task? How many times, out of pride or distraction, do we fail to call, to visit, to hug? Time teaches us that life is made of now, not future promises, nor perfect memories. It's now. This exact moment as you hear these words. It's in this second that you can choose to be present, to love more, to listen better, to sit beside someone and just be. If you had just one more hour with someone you love, how would you use that time? What would you say? What would you listen to? What kind of hug would you give unhurried, without a phone, without distractions? Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine that reunion, the person, the voice, the scent, the touch. Feel what that hour would mean. Because the truth is, we don't know when the last one will come. And when that moment arrives, all the money in the world will be useless in the face of a single memory that could have been made but wasn't. Time doesn't wait. It moves, indifferent, and takes with it the opportunities we let slip away. So cherish those beside you now. Give them your attention. Ask for forgiveness. Say I love you as often as your heart tells you, because time, my friend, time doesn't come back. And when all is silent, when the body is tired and the days start to repeat, you'll realize that what gives life meaning isn't the years accumulated, but the moments well lived. And those, no one can take from you. Time is the only gift that never comes wrapped, but always leaves eternal marks on the soul. Genuine love and human connection. In a world where everything seems to have a price, where even emotions are sold in prepackaged phrases and expensive gifts, there's something that remains absolutely non-negotiable. True love, the kind of love that doesn't depend on beauty, social status, or grand achievements. The kind of love you recognize in someone's eyes, that lives in small gestures, that quietly warms the soul. That love can't be bought. It's cultivated. Genuine love isn't the kind flaunted on social media, nor the kind that only shows up in good times. It's the love that stays on gray days, that extends as care when you're sick, that listens patiently even when you repeat the same story 3 times. Love is presence. It's someone remembering you like your coffee week, that you're afraid of thunder, that old songs make you emotional. It's someone knowing your little details and still choosing to stay, I remember. A friend from my youth, Carlos. We went decades without speaking. Life pulled us apart, as it often does. Families, work, responsibilities. Everything pushed us away, until one day we met again. We were older men by then. Hair turned white, faces lined with time. But when I looked into his eyes, it was as if time had stopped. He was the same friend with endless laughter, with silly but sincere advice. We sat, we spoke little, we laughed a lot. And in the end, he gripped my hand tightly and said, "I never stopped remembering you. That has no price." That is love in its purest form, a connection that survives time, distance, and even silence. Today, many try to buy affection. Gifts replace words. Flowers are given instead of apologies. But real love isn't measured in grand gestures, but in constancy, in the phone call to ask how you slept, in the care taken with your medicine, in the chair pulled close just to talk. Love lives in those details. You listening now? Do you recognize who's truly there for you? Who walks beside you for who you are, not for what you have or what you've done? Have you nurtured the bonds that truly matter? Or have you invested too much in appearances, in hollow achievements, hoping one day they'll fill what only a sincere hug could? True love is healing, nourishment, refuge, and age only makes it more precious. Don't wait for grand occasions. Love today. Speak today. Show it today. Because at the end of the journey, what will warm our hearts are precisely those deep bonds, the human connections we made along the way. Genuine love can't be bought, forced, or lost. It's given. And when it's real, it remains even. When everything else is gone, respect and dignity. With time we learn that some things can't be demanded or bought. One is respect, the other, dignity. No matter how much money you have, how many medals you've won, or how many titles hang on your wall, true respect comes from recognizing the humanity in others. It grows from a sincere gaze, one that sees the soul behind the wrinkles, the story behind the silence, the pain hidden behind a smile. Dignity isn't in the size of a house or the price of a wristwatch. It's in the posture of someone who lives with integrity. It's in having much and still treating others with humility. Most of all, it's in aging with honor, even when the body no longer obeys, even when the modern world tries to make the elderly feel obsolete, invisible, left behind. I remember a man named Joaquim. He worked as a doorman in an upscale building, the kind that oozes luxury. He opened doors, carried bags, smiled at everyone. Most rushed past, barely noticing him. But one day, a new resident, well-dressed, arrogant, threw his keys on the ground and ordered Joaquim to pick them up. He humiliated him with words, and I'll never forget Joaquim's response. He bent down, picked up the keys, looked the man firmly in the eye, and said, "Sir, I may not have your position, but I have my dignity. And that, no one can take from me." That sentence has stayed with me ever since. Because in that moment, the one standing tall was him. In old age, many feel forgotten. The world spins faster and doesn't wait. The young often get distracted by haste, technology, promises of the future, and forget that every wrinkle on our faces is a chapter in a book still being written. Respect is remembering that. It's listening to a story told for the third time as if it were the first. It's not treating experience as a burden, but as a guiding light. Respect isn't formality, it's love in disguise. It's the kindness that sustains relationships. And dignity is what keeps us standing, even when the world tries to bend us. An elder's dignity lies in being heard, in being useful, in remaining an active part of life, not just remembered on special occasions, but included every day. So I ask, How have you been looking at the elders in your life? Have you listened attentively, valued their advice, returned with kindness what you've received from them over so many years? Because in the end, what remains is the memory of how we were treated. And what makes us great isn't what we have, but how we choose to honor the dignity of those who walk with us. Respect can't be bought, it's earned. And dignity is the last thing we should lose, even when we have nothing left. Quality time with loved ones. There's a kind of wealth that can't be measured in money or possessions. It's silent but powerful, invisible to hurried eyes, yet alive in the hearts of those who love. I'm talking about quality time with the people we cherish. That time when you're truly present, not just physically, but wholly, with your thoughts, your gaze, your tenderness. That time is sacred. And it's so rare these days that we live in a world of rush, obligations, packed schedules. A world where we'll talk later has become the norm, and I don't have time right now has turned into an excuse. But time doesn't wait. Children grow up, parents age, friends drift apart. And one day, when life slows down against our will, when we find ourselves alone on a quiet afternoon, we realize what truly sustained us wasn't work, possessions, or titles, but the moments spent beside the people we love. I remember a simple afternoon. A table with bread, freshly brewed coffee, my mother retelling a familiar story, and my siblings laughing as if hearing it for the first time. Nothing grand, no special occasion, but in that moment, I felt something no luxury could ever give me. Belonging, love, peace. This is what quality time is about: presence that heals, a gaze that comforts, listening attentively without hurry, walking hand in hand with no particular destination, sitting on the couch just to watch a show together, even if neither of you is paying attention to the plot. What matters is being there, sharing time so fleeting with those who truly matter. And believe me, it's the little things that stay. Not expensive gifts or dinners at fancy restaurants. It's the handwritten notes, the shared memories, the inside jokes, the lingering hugs. These small things are what, at the end of life, warm the heart and make us smile, even in silence. So if you have someone by your side, a child, a grandchild, an old friend, don't wait for the perfect moment. Create it, call, visit. Sit with them, ask questions, tell your stories, put the phone away, turn off the TV, give them your full attention. Because when you give your time, you're saying, "You matter to me." And for those who've already lost someone special, you know better than anyone, what hurts isn't the absence. It's the time we didn't spend with them. What stings is having prioritized what was urgent and forgotten what was essential. So, today, I invite you to make a choice. Choose to be present. Choose to love with your whole self. Choose to turn now into eternity for those walking beside you. Quality time is the greatest gift you can give, and the only one that, when truly lived, becomes eternal in the memory of those you love. Inner peace and self-knowledge. You might live in your dream home, have the most comfortable bed, the finest perfumes, the softest sheets. You might travel the world, dine at the best restaurants, wear the most expensive clothes. But if there's restlessness inside you, if your heart is heavy, if your mind finds no rest, none of that will bring true peace. Because inner peace isn't found outside. It's built, and it's one of the greatest treasures money can never buy. The peace so many seek lies in simple places, in the quiet of the morning, the sound of wind through trees, a prayer said with faith, a cup of tea sipped slowly, good company, or even alone but whole. Peace is the opposite of hurry. It's the freedom to be who you are without fear of judgment. It's not needing to prove anything to anyone. It's accepting your own limits while still allowing yourself to grow with grace. This peace only comes with self-knowledge. When we stop looking outward and start observing what's happening within, what we feel, what wounds us, what we need to let go. Sometimes we carry grudges for years without realizing we're the ones keeping ourselves prisoner. We hold onto unspoken words, unhealed pains, guilt that isn't ours. And all of this pulls us further from tranquility. It steals our sleep. It weighs us down. I remember an older man I met on a park bench. His name was Elias. Every morning, he'd sit on the same bench at the same time, notebook in hand. One day, curious, I asked what he wrote. He smiled and said, "Every day, I write one thing I've learned about myself. Sometimes it's a hard truth. Other times, a joy I almost missed. That stayed with me." Because he'd understood something precious. Knowing yourself is a daily practice. And those who learn to know themselves also learn to respect themselves and to forgive themselves. Inner peace doesn't mean a life without problems. It means having roots deep enough not to be shaken by every wind. It means being at peace with your choices, even the ones that went wrong. It's looking in the mirror and saying, "I accept myself. I understand myself. And today, I am home within." Me, you listening now, maybe you carry old anguish. Maybe there are unanswered questions inside you. Maybe parts of your story still hurt too much. But know this, there's still time. There always is. Silence the noise of the world. Listen to your breath. Pray. Write. Walk alone for a few minutes. Give your soul room to breathe. Because without peace, there's no full life. And without self-knowledge, we're just shadows of ourselves. The peace you seek may not be in others' hands. It's in how you treat yourself, how you care for yourself, how you embrace yourself. When you know yourself, you make peace with your own story. And that is freedom. True peace doesn't come when everything around you calms down, but when, finally, you learn to make silence within yourself. Purpose and legacy. There comes a time in life when we begin to ask ourselves, what will I leave behind when I'm gone? It's not about wealth or property, nor about how much we've accumulated. It's about legacy. About what will continue to exist long after our physical presence is no longer here. It's about the marks we leave on people, the seeds we plant in hearts, the simple gestures that, without us knowing, transformed lives. The true purpose of life isn't found in what we can grasp with our hands, but in what we can touch with our souls. Throughout life, many chase achievements, titles, and goals. But there comes a moment, and it always does, when all of that loses its shine. What truly matters is knowing our existence had meaning, that we made a difference to someone, that we walked this earth not just to consume, but to contribute, not just to have, but to be. I vividly remember the story of Donna Celia, a retired teacher from a small countryside town. When she passed, there was no inheritance to divide. But at her funeral, former students from 4 different generations showed up, people who traveled from afar just to say thank you. Each shared how a single word from her, a gesture, or a simple piece of advice had changed the course of their lives. And I thought, what kind of powerful legacy is this one that can't be measured in money but lives on in people's hearts? Your legacy doesn't have to be grand to be eternal. Maybe you were the grandparent who taught your grandchildren to respect their elders. Maybe you were the neighbor who listened without judgment. Maybe you were the one who never skipped a good morning, even on the hardest days. The world needs these small acts of greatness, and they build a legacy that stretches far beyond our name. Purpose also changes with time. In youth, it's action. In maturity, it's reflection. And in old age, it becomes giving stories, affection, wisdom, time. It's when we realize we weren't made to be eternal, but to leave something that is. And that only happens when we live with intention. Have you ever asked yourself, what am I building today that will hold value 10, 20, or 50 years from now? Maybe the answer doesn't need to be grand. Sometimes it's just a kind gesture, a word of encouragement, a respectful silence. All of it echoes. All of it remains. In our later years, we have a privilege to look back at the road we've traveled and consciously decide how we want it to end. There's still time to mend bridges, nurture bonds, and teach by example. To leave a clear path so those who come after us know which way to walk. The true legacy isn't what we leave in the world, but what we leave in the hearts of those lucky enough to have crossed our path. Memories and family history. As time passes and the house grows quieter, it's in memories that we find comfort. They visit us in the middle of the afternoon, in the smell of a cake baking, in the sound of an old song, in a yellowed photograph tucked away in a drawer. Memories are the soul's dwelling places, and family history is the invisible thread that stitches us to the world. You may have noticed, as the years go by, our bodies slow down, but our hearts begin to cherish what once seemed too simple. That playtime with grandchildren in the living room, the recipe passed down through generations, the silly nicknames only the family understands, the dinners around the table where laughter mattered more than the menu. These are the scenes that stay with us until the end. They're what make us feel alive, even when our bodies no longer respond as they once did. And it's curious. No matter how much the world changes, the essence of these memories remains. Untouched, a mother's love, a father's protective gaze, a sibling's embrace, the longing for a grandparent who left too soon. All of it forms the mosaic of our story, a story that can't be bought or replaced, because it's unique, it's ours, and it needs to be told. Often the elders are the keepers of these memories. They remember where the family came from, the struggles faced, the values taught by example. They know who we were before we became who we are. That's why preserving these stories isn't just about honoring the past, it's about protecting the future. It's letting those who come after know they belong to something greater than themselves. Have you shared your story with someone? Today, have you told your grandson about your first love? Have you reminded your daughter how it felt when she came into this world? These memories aren't just beautiful, they're necessary. Because in a time where everything is fast, digital, and disposable, remembering is an act of resistance. And remembering as a family is an act of love. Create rituals, gather photos. Preserve your memories in a notebook, a letter, a recording. Let your voice echo even when you're no longer here. Because money can buy a tree, but not the sound of laughter beneath it. It can pay for a trip, but not the emotion of revisiting the town where your childhood lives. It can buy a table, but not the stories it has witnessed. In the end, what remains isn't what we owned, it's what we lived. And what we shared with those we loved. It's the memories we created together, the bonds we built, the simple moments that became eternal. Money may multiply, but only memories have the power to cross generations and keep love alive, even when we've become longing itself. If you've made it this far, take a deep breath, because it means there's still a place inside you that values the invisible, the eternal, what's felt, not what's bought. You've heard about time, love, peace, respect, memories, and legacy. But the most important thing is what you'll do with this now. Maybe today is the day to start anew, to send that message you've been putting off, to say, I love you, for no reason, to sit with your grandchild and tell them what the world was like in your time, to call a friend and say, I thought of you today. Because these gestures, even the smallest ones, are seeds of eternity. And now, I ask you heart to heart, don't keep this message to yourself. Share it with someone who needs to remember what truly matters. Send it to a son, a daughter, a friend, someone who's been running too fast and forgetting to live. Be the link that reconnects them to what money can't give. Like this video if it touched your soul. Write in the comments, what money could never buy in my life is. Share your answer. Inspire others with your story. Let's create a space where memories, truths, and feelings can flourish. And if you believe more people need to hear this, subscribe to the channel. Here we speak soul to soul. Here, time has value. Here, life is treated with the respect it deserves. Every week, a new reflection to remind you of what's eternal. Because while the world chases having, we walk beside those who simply want to be remembered not for what you had, but for all that made others' hearts beat stronger.